Good evening, wrestling fans. I'm Jeff Upson alongside Eric Knopsnyder. And Eric, the best word to describe is strange, right? This is weird. This is strange. This is odd that we're talking about the PIAA state dual team tournament, and we just finished up with NCAAs, right? We just it's the most bizarre thing in the world, but here we are now almost into April, and we're talking about the state dual team tournament. We're in the quarterfinals, right? We had a lot of good action in the last couple of days, but here we are tomorrow. The quarterfinals kickoff. What is the feeling like? I know you got to see a little bit of the Chestnut Ridge and Brookville, and of course Forest Hills won the District 6 title to get into the state tournament. We have guys like Jackson Arrington, who wrestled 132, wrestling 152, right, weighing in at 145. So it's going to be a crapshoot, right?
Yeah, to me, I way, but it almost feels like summer wrestling, where it's like, all right, we got a summer league, just show up, whatever, wrestle whatever you weigh. We're not going to cut weight, we're just going to go out and wrestle for 4 or 5 minutes, and it's not that lax, of course, but you do have these guys that are like, I've been done for 3 weeks, I'm 15 pounds heavier than I was, and
well,
who can blame them?
And some of these guys have been done for much longer than that, right? And that's kind of what we were alluding to prior to this weekend, this week, was that a lot of these guys have been done for over a month, right, competing. So you're telling me that you had guys show up to practice 5 days a week, kept their weight. So it's we're going to try to do a preview show, if you will. I just don't know really what it's going to turn out to look like, because we have guys at multiple different weights. We have some hammer matchups. If these were happening in February, my gosh, I would be ecstatic, because we have, Southern Columbia, Notre Dame, Green Pond locking horns right away, which I'm still stoked for the match, but it's hard to say where guys are going to be. And even with AAA, we saw it with Cathedral Prep. They wrestled Carrick, and there weren't a lot of names that we necessarily recognized, because a lot of the big name guys were out. And yeah, it's just very odd, Eric, and it doesn't kind of feel real. Does it feel not real to you either?
Yeah, like I said, sitting in there, I've gotten to go to the two Forest Hills matches in the District 6 tournament the past couple of weeks. And, it was still a good atmosphere. I mean, for the fans that were there, it was loud, it was fun. And with them, they actually had their heavyweight, who lost in the sectional, had not wrestled a match in a month, and pinned his guy against Bald Eagle to get the win to help them move on. And so it was pretty cool. It was a guy that had kept coming to practice, even though he hadn't been wrestling, wasn't competing in the districts or in regionals or states or anything, but kept coming and was able to get them a victory that way. So there are some cool stories out there, but yeah, I also saw some guys that were pretty out of shape in some cases, and you could tell they hadn't gone 6 minutes in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, those are the stories that you like to hear. The heavyweight that stuck around for however long it was, a month, a couple weeks, just to stay fresh, stay in the room, and comes out and ends up getting a big win, right, in order to propel his team to a win. So that's always really cool to see, and I think we're going to see a lot of guys kind of similar to that. The double A bracket is a real doozy, in my opinion. So. You look at what happened on Monday, the 22nd, and this is where the first round happened. Lackawanna Trail from District 2, they were your District 2 champions. They beat Archbishop Ryan out of District 12. They beat them 39-30. They now have a date with Boiling Springs tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Boiling Springs is the District 3 champion. District 3 had their district tournament prior to the individual state tournament, so Boiling Springs has known that they were going to be there. Also, Brookville and Chestnut Ridge wrestled. That was a nice match, right? Because we had seen these two wrestle previously at the Ultimate Duels. Chestnut Ridge once again comes away with the victory, 41-21. They were the District 5 champions. District 9, obviously Brookville. But Chestnut Ridge then moves right into Burrell, where we have another rematch of the Brookville Ultimate Duels, where Burrell and Chestnut Ridge are going to be going head-to-head. Shout out Josh Shields and the Burrell coaching staff. I got the powder blue Burrell here today, okay? Matches my eyes. I like it. It matches, Eric, it kind of matches your shirt a little bit too. So I love Burl, and I'm happy to wear the shirt. I know Greg's gonna wear his on Thursday for a War Up, so we couldn't have the same shirt on for that.
He doesn't have that 1985 shirt that he wore the last time whenever Burrow won the team title.
Is that what he wore?
Do you don't remember that? We made fun of him about it because I don't even know what it was. It was some horrible shirt that looked like it was from his junior high days. And he said, well, it was the only thing I had that had Burrow blue in it, so I had to wear it.
Well, we make fun of Greg a lot, so I mean, it's gonna be. He always wears. He's like in his pajamas. He's wearing. He's got all that alcohol behind him. It's probably not the smartest thing for a high school focused podcast, but whatever. So Brookfield, Chestnut Ridge didn't disappoint. We saw a lot of good matches there. Chestnut Ridge is able to come out on top. Let me ask you this, Eric, because Chestnut Ridge is one of those teams where they're built for the team postseason. How many guys did they qualify to the Hershey Medal rounds?
Just two.
Just two, right? So did you see any drop off with Chestnut Ridge with some of their normal starters per se? Like, did you see a lot of names that you weren't accustomed to seeing when Chestnut Ridge wrestled Brookfield?
No, they had most of their guys in there. They did forfeit 2 weights, but I think that was strategy almost as much as anything because they forfeited to Nathan Taylor and Owen Reinsel. So, if you're going to do it, obviously you want to give it to the opposition's best guys. So they forfeited 2 weights there, but they still had their 6-pounder. They still had Callum Bowman at 113. They looked a lot like they did. They bumped away, like I said, from Reinsel. But, those are the names that we've seen all year in the Chestnut Ridge lineup. You didn't see anybody new in there that just got thrown out there. Because I know when I talked to Josh Deputy after the District 5 tournament, I asked him then, I said, hey, I know you guys, you love the team tournament, but do you worry at all about how it's going to be, for these guys that didn't make it out of the district tournament and you're expecting them to stick around for a month and be around? And he said, no. He said, we'll have practice on Monday. He said, I expect my backups to be there. He said, I expect the backups to my backups to be there. He said, they'll be there all month long. And, whenever we get to the state duels, they'll be excited to go.
But I mean that is a unique situation, right? I mean that's Chestnut Ridge. There's something in the water there, right? And there's some, they like you said, they pride themselves on this, and I can't say all of the 8 teams that are left are doing things similar to that, right? I think that's a unique case study.
Well, and I've actually been a little bit critical of Chestnut Ridge. The one thing that you can say about them is sometimes they disappoint in the individual tournaments because they don't seem to have the passion for that. Whenever they're wrestling for each other in a dual meet, they're just giving everything they've got. And sometimes it seems like they're missing a little edge whenever they get to the individual competition that, they'll beat a guy in the team tournament and then lose to him in the individual tournament. So maybe we'll see the opposite here. Maybe they'll get a win in the team tournaments that they didn't get in the individual postseason.
Yeah, and if you look at the current rankings, the state dual team rankings, Chestnut Ridge comes in at number 5, Burl comes in at number 6, right? So these two did wrestle, and I'm going to put that graphic up on the screen here for you to see. You can see here Chestnut Ridge beat Burl 33-30, and the box scores, I don't think it's necessarily indicative of where it's going to be at this time around because that was January 23rd. We're 2 months past that now.
Well, yeah, you had Brock Holderbaum at 106 then. He's been wrestling 120 because of Bowman at 113. So he jumped all the way up, and Riggleman went from 13 down to 6. So
you also have Salerno in there at 32.
Right, and that was one of the big things that I'm wondering. Tried to get some information out of Josh Shields, but he's a little tight-lipped. He told me I'm a District 5 guy. He can't give me any information. So I'm not sure if Salerno is coming back tomorrow or not. He gave me like a maybe with a question mark on it in the text. So we'll have
Josh
to wait
Shields doesn't play around. He's not gonna give Eric Knopsnyder, the guy who seeded the District 5 tournament. Oh yeah, you're not gonna tell Mr. Deputy over there. Good for you, Josh. Nah, I'm not sure if he's gonna be in there. If he is though, that obviously changes things, right?
Yeah, that gives Burrow a much better chance. As you said, it was 33-30 last time, so you know as well as I do in those kind of matches, a point here or there can swing the whole duel.
So 33-30 last time. They started at 72. They, Burrow did have a forfeit at 13. Um, I again, if these two match up like they did in January, I think it's a close toss up match. Luke Moore got a major on Damian Barr at 52. Jack Moyer and Aaron Edwards, that was a 3-1 match. I think that could probably go either way. Even with Salerno and Ross Dahl, that was a 6-4 match. Dahl has had a great end of his season this year, so it's hard to say. Other than that, though, you had a lot of major decisions, tech falls and falls. I will say Dan Moore tech falling over Colby Christie. I thought Colby Christie got better as the year went on, so I'm not sure if he'll actually be able to replicate that. There's a lot of unknowns here, right? Not only is the weights, the weights unknown, but also where are guys at shape wise, where are they at, where are they going to be at conditioning wise, because Chestnut Ridge, like you said, those guys, I'm probably going to give the edge to Chestnut Ridge. One, they had the win before, and two, these guys have been training for, seems like for probably January for this specific event. So,
Yeah.
Would you tend to lean that way, Eric, or do you
I
think,
would, especially as I said, I don't know what the Salerno status is. Maybe he's back, but maybe he just got back this week and isn't in the shape that he would have been had he been healthy the whole time. Maybe he's not back at all, and then that's a big hole in the lineup. So I mean, given the fact that Ridge won the previous meeting and has those couple factors on their side, I would lean towards them. But I still think it's going to be a really fun duel, and I wouldn't count Burrow out by any means.
yeah, I mean it's a top 10, it's a top 10 matchup between two high quality teams that have been there before, have been to the state tournament multiple times before, have come away with medals before. So, a number 5 versus a number 6 in the state is pretty impressive, even during these times. If you look at the rest of the bracket there, so Boiling Springs will get that winner from the District 2 and 12 matchup, Lackawanna Trail. I expect Boiling Springs to win that match. The District 3 champions will probably end up in the semifinals at Cumberland Valley. Southern Columbia and Notre Dame Green Pond. This one has all the makings for an absolute battle. This is a number 1 versus number 3. Notre Dame has been number 1 unanimously throughout the year. Southern Columbia has been number 3 behind Reynolds. These guys combined have had such a great year. We saw Notre Dame at the state tournament, individual tournament, do very, very well. We saw what Brent Unger was able to do. Kletos was a state finalist. There is a lot of power there, but Southern Columbia, again, where are these guys at? Because they have a lot of guys that are needed to step up and be in the lineup that hadn't been in. Because remember, District 4, I mean, look at Cole Bisco. Cole Bisco didn't make it to the Super Region, and he's one of their biggest name guys. We talked about with Mitch Rupert, Eric, District 4 was so stacked that you had a lot of guys from District 4 not make it out. So Southern Columbia is going to have to really keep these guys motivated and hungry for this match. The Notre Dame Green Pond guys have been in the room since day one, because they advanced half their team to Hershey. It seems like. I'm really, really, really looking forward to this one. This probably is my favorite matchup, and that's saying something considering we have a Reynolds Forest Hills match as well. But the Notre Dame Green Pond and Southern Columbia match on Wednesday night at Southern Columbia is going to be an absolute war. 1-3 in the state quarterfinals of the team tournament. I'm looking forward to it, Eric.
And the other thing that we haven't even talked about, Jeff, is spring sports. And I
Yeah.
don't know enough about the Southern Columbia kids. I know they have a lot of really good athletes on there that are football players and other things. I mean, how many of them are running track or playing baseball? And maybe that's taken away a little bit from what they're doing wrestling wise right now. So, I mean, that's another factor. And could be the same thing for Notre Dame Green Pond or any of these schools as well, that you've got guys that have turned their attention to those sports and they're saying, yeah, I'll do what I can to help out the team, but wrestling might not be the main focus for some of these guys right now, that they're thinking about what the spring sports season is going to bring for them. And so again, they may do what they can to help the team, but it's not the same kind of commitment level that you would have seen a month ago.
I know a guy like Garcia, Gavin Garcia.
That's who I was thinking of.
He's
Yeah.
a track guy. He's a big time track guy, and he's also a big time football player. So yeah, yeah. I mean,
And
how
I know
many
I've seen him
guys?
on for football and in the forefront of where he is right now, and I can't blame him if it's not.
Yeah, I mean, look at Southern Columbia as a whole. I mean, a lot of those guys are, dual, even triple sport guys. Like track and field and football, baseball. So you're right. We didn't even talk about that with previewing some of these early round matches. Is one. There's a few factors. One is shape, right? What's your physical conditioning level like? Because if you took off from the end of, let's just say, the start of the postseason, individual postseason until now, and you're just now getting back in the room, obviously that's going to be a huge problem for you. But two, how many wrestlers are available to you? How many guys are just, hey, I'm sorry, coach, I'm full into baseball or track now. So you're going to have a couple different factors and the third one I would say is weight, right? So even if a guy had been there all the time, like Jackson Arrington wrestled up until the state tournament and he was weighing in at 145, bumped up to 152, and that, I'm not saying, guys are just blown up, but when you have several weeks without having to weigh in, you're naturally going to be higher up. You're going to get bigger. So those are the three huge factors for me: is your conditioning, your availability of roster, and your three is your weight classes, because I think we're going to see a lot of shifting around that we wouldn't have typically seen had this been before the individual tournament.
Yeah, and you're exactly right there that some of the matchups that we might have seen before aren't going to happen. I know, like Forest Hills has been weighing in 10 guys. They're not at full capacity like they were during the season or as close to it. So, I expect to see that. I mean, obviously the better teams have deeper rosters and can usually find some guys to plug in there. But yeah, there are just so many question marks right now. It's really hard to have any idea what we're going to get in a dual meet.
So we talked about the next matchup there, and that's Burrell and Chestnut Ridge. Burrell is number 6 in the state. Chestnut Ridge comes in at number 5. So that's a great matchup there. We just talked about, but also Reynolds and Forest Hills. So Reynolds, 3-time state champions. They won. I don't know how many total they have. They have a ton. I'm sure Mason Beckman knows, and he can tell me. He'll probably text me right now. Reynolds is number 2 in the state, and Forest Hills, I thought, had a good District 6 tournament. They came in at number 11 into the state rankings coming into this, but I thought they wrestled pretty well in the District 6 tournament. You got to cover some of them, Eric. What was your thoughts on the Forest Hills Rangers?
They did. And again, it was, as is always the case in a dual meet, it's not necessarily your stars that are going to win these matches for you. It's the guys that are, number 8, number 9, number 10 in your lineup as far as what you expect out of them. But they come through either with not getting pinned by, like one kid didn't get pinned by Brock McMillan. He got tacked, to keep it save a point. Another guy, like I said, the heavyweight that came through with a pin. Other guys like Tony DePaula, who didn't really go anywhere in the individual postseason, but is putting together some wins for them in the postseason as far as the team goes. It's guys like that make a real difference, because we know what we're going to get out of Jackson Arrington, whether it's at 32 or 52. We know he's going to be really good, and he's going to put bonus points up against just about anybody that he wrestles. So we get that. It's what those other guys in the lineup are doing that make a big difference. And I wanted to ask you, if you had done this now, would Reynolds still be your number 2 team? Because I mean, I thought it was a little bit of a disappointing individual postseason for them. I mean, to see Reynolds only have 2 guys in Hershey was really surprising.
So no. So the answer is no, and here's the reason why. They have a lot of guys who now look where they came out from, right? They came out from the West Super Region. So one, I wasn't surprised that they only had that many, because they don't have, they don't have a ton of the depth, the high caliber guys like you see like with a Notre Dame Green Pond, where they have 5 guys that are studs, right? They have very good balance throughout. Cole Toy was probably the one that I was most surprised that he did not make it to the state tournament, considering he was a returning state medalist. Now, Gary Steen, you know what he's going to do. Caden Berger, you know what he's going to do, right? Those other guys, though, those are the guys that I think really make Reynolds special. They're just very well, as we've seen, and I believe I said 3. I probably am going to get hurt if I don't correct this. They've won 4 straight team state tournaments in the last 4 years. So I think I said 3. There are 4 straight. So they're going for their 5th straight dual team title, which is insane. That's ever since Central Dauphin won 4 in a row. And Bethlehem Catholic won 4 in a row. I don't think no team has ever won 5 in a row. So this could be history making for them. I would still have Reynolds number 2, Southern Columbia number 3. Those two I think can go back and forth, but I just Reynolds has beaten Southern Columbia 3 times in the last 3 years in the state finals. So until Southern Columbia can show that they can beat Reynolds, I would kind of keep them there. The reason Notre Dame kind of leapfrog them is the fact that they return so much talent even without Ryan Crookham. They are so deep, and some of their guys that were not so highly anticipated this year outside of Kletos did really well. I thought Holden Garcia wrestled really well. I thought Aiden Smith at 106 had a great season. These are guys, and even Evan Mag didn't even make it to the state tournament, which is a returning state medalist. So I'm still leaning towards a Notre Dame kind of being the favorite, and I'll put up the screen here where you can see the bracket. But on the top half here, obviously Boyne Springs, Lackawanna Trail, Southern Columbia, and Notre Dame on the top half winners. So I believe that Southern Columbia and Notre Dame Green Pond winner is going to make it to the state finals. So I believe whoever comes out from Southern Columbia and Notre Dame will beat Boyne Springs or Lackawanna Trail to make it to the finals. And if you look on the bottom half here of AA, you've got Forest Hills and Reynolds, Chestnut Ridge and Burrell. Now this one, there's a lot more depth here in the bottom half, clearly. Outside of Notre Dame, Green Pond, and Southern Columbia at the top, Boyne Springs is good, not great. I would say you have 4 very, very quality teams on the bottom with Burrell, Chestnut Ridge, Reynolds, and Forest Hills, Eric. So this one, obviously I'm going to go with Reynolds, but I wouldn't be shocked to see any 4 of those teams really make it out.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Forest Hills, like I said, they just don't have the depth right now. They've been without Noah Teeter in the postseason. He's been banged up. I don't know that he's going to be back, and without him, I'm not sure that they have enough firepower there. I think they're really solid with the guys that they have, but when we get to this point, it's tough to overcome if you're giving up any forfeits.
So let's just say if the rankings hold, right, we would have a number 2 Reynolds versus a number 5 Chestnut Ridge. Now this is an interesting one for me. I know you talked about with Forest Hills and how maybe giving up some of the forfeits and having guys like Noah Teeter out, but Reynolds and Chestnut Ridge, could Chestnut Ridge say they beat Burrell? Do they have a shot against Reynolds? Because I'll tell you, I think they do, but I would like to hear your opinion.
Yeah, every year I think we kind of say, well, Chestnut Ridge isn't as good as they were last year, because they lose a Justin McCoy, and then they lose a Jared McGill, and then, they just keep losing state medalists, but they keep just churning out solid guys. And do I think that they beat Reynolds? No, probably not. But would I be shocked by it? Absolutely not. As we said, they live for this. And, especially this year, I think that could be the difference in a tight dual meet. The guys who have really been waiting to get there, and not the guys who are like, well, the individual postseason's over, and now we'll just, go ahead and do this state team thing and see how we do.
Yeah, it's just weird, right? And it's again, I think I started the show by saying it's odd, it's strange, it's weird. This whole thing is so, not what we're used to, right? So it's odd to try to make these predictions when we're not really sure what we're going to get. Really the only thing we have to go off of is that tradition, right? And how those guys have been performing in the last couple of years. Reynolds, whatever they do, they find a way to win, right? You don't win 4 straight state dual team titles without having some coaching staff that knows what they're doing and what they're accomplishing, pushing forward. Now, Chestnut Ridge, I don't know. There's something about them, Eric, that they're just they always find ways to keep it close. Even the guys that aren't supposed to do well end up keeping it to a decision, not giving up bonus points. And then when they do end up getting their bonus points, they they get them. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it come down to a few different factors. But again, I'm not even so sure that Burrell is, Chestnut Ridge is getting past Burrell. I mean, these are teams that we're so used to seeing at the Brookville Ultimate Duels, right? That you throw those teams in there, and we're just so used to seeing them because they're always there, right? Outside of Forest Hills, all three of these schools have been there, the last 10 years, it seems like. And then Brookville, Chestnut Ridge just went up to Brookville and beat them. So, yeah, I think, Coach Shields is going to have his team ready. I think if he's keeping it close to his chest by not telling you what's going on, I think that means they're coming to win it. I think, and I think he sent us the shirts at this time because he wants to make sure it's known, like, hey, Burrell's coming to
I didn't
what?
get a shirt. How come you and Greg get a shirt?
Because we
You
do
know,
war up on
there's
because
a
we do war up on the Whippeal.
decent bias here.
We do war up on
Come
the
on,
Whippeal.
Josh, hook me up.
Come on. I'm just saying, man. Like, gotta get with it, Eric. You have a pit shirt on. I don't have a pit shirt. You bought me a youth large.
I did buy you a shirt. I just
Yeah, it's a youth large. I mean, I know I'm not quite the burly fellow I once was, but my gosh, a youth large. Come on,
Well,
Eric.
Dyson got two shirts this way.
Dyson got
Dyson's
two.
mom
Actually, Dyson got a shirt.
shirt.
His mom got a shirt. So,
So
so
I'm
so
turning them into Pitt fans.
yeah, right. Screw the Hawkeyes. So
Yeah.
let's just say the rankings hold Notre Dame, Green Pond versus Reynolds. What do you think, man?
Well, you know what? The first thing I question is, did the two girls on the Reynolds roster
Oh,
find their way into the lineup?
you know, um, so yeah. I mean, I don't want to beat the horse that's been beaten to death and then some, but that did happen, right? That did happen in Hershey last year. I talked to Casey Taylor afterwards. It's probably one of the most viewed interviews on our Rockfin page because it was a highly controversial thing that he did, right? Threw out a girl against Notre Dame Green Pond, and Reynolds ends up winning that match. So yeah, I think you probably are right, Eric. We have to ask that question: is do they have any aces up their sleeve with that? I don't
I
know.
mean, there are two girls listed on their roster.
Right now there are
Yeah,
this year,
yeah,
this
on
season.
on track right now. There are two that are on the roster, and then one that has been xed out of the roster. So they technically had three on there. But yeah, we've seen it before that he's not afraid to do it. And if you don't understand what we're talking about, the ruling from the Catholic diocese in Pennsylvania is that boys can absolutely not wrestle girls. So if a Catholic school is in a situation and has to face a girl, they have to forfeit the match. They're absolutely not allowed to wrestle it.
And that did happen last year. 106 pounds, where Reynolds sent out a female wrestler, and they did forfeit. Reynolds ended up winning the match. They probably didn't have to do it, but it was a little bit early in the dual meet. So I don't know, Eric, man. That's you kind of stirred the pot there a little bit because I kind of forgot that. I was trying to I don't know, tread lightly, and but it's a valid point, right? It's a valid point that needs to be brought up, and even if you know that does happen, it'll be interesting to see if they're able to pull off a win because Notre Dame is very, very solid, right? Their top guys are so tough, even without Ryan Crookham. They're still just such a solid, tough team, well coached. A lot of these guys haven't even stopped practicing. A lot of these guys have been practicing throughout the whole postseason. And not saying Reynolds guys haven't, but it's I think it's going to be an uphill battle. So you may want to do something like that. I don't know. We shall see. We will find out here shortly if that happens. So these matches will happen on Wednesday, the 24th, and 7 o'clock start for Boyne Springs, Lackawanna Trail, 6 o'clock for the rest of them. So 6 o'clock for Southern Columbia, Notre Dame, and streaming information will be available. I'm going to tweet out where you can find the streams for that. I know Southern Columbia, their athletic administration is going to be doing a stream there. Burl and Chestnut Ridge. Do you have any info on streaming there,
I have
Eric?
not heard anything
No?
on that
Okay.
yet.
I'm sure they are. Reynolds and Forest Hills. Again, I'm pretty sure the Legacy Club of Reynolds is going to be doing the stream there for that match. So that's all going down on Wednesday. That's at the top seed, so or top team in the bracket. Winners there will be down to 4. 3 place, or I mean all 4 place, but you'll get the top 3. They will wrestle up to top 3. The winners there in the semifinals travel to Cumberland Valley on the 27th. The semifinals are 11 for Double A. The finals are at 1 p.m. for Double A. And, of course, you have that 3rd and 4th place match that will also happen. I believe that's during the 1 o'clock round. I'll have to double-check that. But, yeah, that's the way it is right now. I'm just glad they're actually putting it off, or actually getting it off and actually wrestling it, because there was a long while there where I was very pessimistic, and I thought there's no way in heck they're going to get this dual team tournament off the ground, and specifically because of the location, the venue, the Giant Center not being available, and then going to Cumberland Valley was really the only saving grace for this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. The basketball being at Hershey. Speaking of which, my alma mater playing in the state championship game this week.
Are they really?
Yeah,
girls
Berlin
or boys?
Brothers Valley boys. The girls won it 2 years ago whenever we were at nationals in Pittsburgh. The school's the champ against Nativity BVM on Thursday.
That's okay. Wow, that's pretty cool. And what class are they in?
Single A.
Single A. Okay, that's what I thought. So, yeah, that's awesome. Good. I'm sure Holly will be cheering them on. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, it's cool. I mean, and again, this isn't a knock on private schools, but what's so cool about the little public schools is how the whole community comes together. And obviously this year's a little different with COVID restrictions and all that, but I mean, everyone in Berlin is just so excited right now to have a team playing for a state title. So it's pretty cool. And we've got all these wrestling teams that are looking for state titles.
Yeah, we have. I mean, we've got. Could you imagine if like Chestnut Ridge do they have a good basketball team? Could you imagine like if they did, then they would just, their whole town would show up. It'd be.
Oddly enough, I found out, I didn't realize it, but I talked to Rich Rhodes, who hooked us up with some photos of that Chestnut Ridge Brookville match, and he said, oddly enough, Chestnut Ridge's basketball team played at Brookville 2 nights earlier.
Huh. Interesting. Well, this isn't a basketball podcast, but I like to hear those types of things, because I honestly, if you would ask me who won I have no idea who. I know football because that's right before
Does Central
wrestling.
Dauphin have a basketball team?
Of course we have a basketball team. Come on. When I was Jen Harris, you ever hear about Jen Harris? My God, she was the best. She was the best women's basketball player in Pennsylvania history. Now that's changed. Now you have Carla Thomas. You have people that went to the WNBA, but oh my gosh, the girls basketball team at CD was always better than boys. But yeah, the boys are good too. Get out of here.
I'm just busting on you because their wrestling team was always so good.
Yeah, the team wasn't always great. When I was there, we weren't so great, because I was there. Let's go over to AAA, where I hate to say it, but just mail the trophy to Waynesburg. I said this about the WPIAL. I'll say it again, but if you look at the top half of the AAA state bracket, you got Springford, who won the District 1 championship. Delaware Valley out of District 2 beat LaSalle College out of District 12. Delaware Valley beat them 52-18. So now they will go to Springford and wrestle Springford. And you also have on there, let me just make sure I have the right one up there. I do not have the right one. Here we go. Springford and Delaware Valley. Central Dauphin, they will wrestle Bethlehem Catholic. That's probably my most anticipated first round early matchup. That's number 3 versus number 5. Becca comes in ranked number 3 in the state. Central Dauphin comes in at number 5. They're 17-0. Bethlehem Catholic is a whopping 3-0. But now remember, these District 11 teams like Notre Dame, Green Pond, they're fresh, but they didn't have to wrestle a district tournament to get to the state dual team tournament. They were the only ones who actually elected to wrestle. They were the only volunteers that said, yeah, we'll wrestle in the dual team tournament, state dual team tournament. So, Becca and Dustin Hawkinsmith of Penn Live did a good article today on CD being up to challenge for Becca. Could have a Matt Repost, Tyler Kasak rematch there at 126 pounds. A lot of good matches there. I think potentially between these two. Um, I think outside of that, you got Waynesburg and Erie Prep on the bottom half. Now, I like Erie Cathedral Prep, but they don't have nearly as much firepower that they would need to hang with a Waynesburg. Now, again, where Waynesburg's weight's at, because I guarantee you Mac Church is probably not 120 pounds. He's probably more like a 126, 132. Cole Hammett may be like a 145, 150. So like, and the thing with Waynesburg is they wrestle you straight up. They 106 to 285. You know who you're gonna get throughout. They don't do a whole lot of moving, so this could hurt them. I don't think it's enough.
Are they still good enough, even if they bump everybody up a weight class, just to win this thing pretty easily? I mean, not just Erie Cathedral Prep. I mean, the whole tournament.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I firmly believe that. I mean, they're just, I'm not saying that they're just, yeah, they are. They're that superior that I believe that they would probably be able to win it without going, straight up the lineup, moving guys around, potentially bumping guys around. They have that much star power. All those guys are going to be back. Noah Tustin was the first person eliminated from Waynesburg, and I guarantee you he's ready to go at 220. But you look at the rankings here. Springford at the top, they're number 10 in the state. Delaware Valley's number 24, so a top 25 matchup. I mentioned how Becca's 3, CD is 5. Clearly, probably the best first-round matchup. Waynesburg 1, Cathedral Prep 6. But I just, Cathedral Prep, yes, they're good, but I don't think they're going to be able to hang with Waynesburg. I mean, Panero Johnson, he could potentially have a rematch with Rocco Welsh or maybe Nate Stevenson at 160. Van D, he could see Joe Simone, or maybe he bumps up and sees Fatoris or even Mac Church. I'm not sure. And then on the bottom one, more towards your neck of the woods, is number 15 Bellefonte versus number 21 Williamsport. I really like that matchup between a District 6 and District 4 team, but both these teams had really good seasons thus far. Bellefonte won a very tough District 6 tournament. They're undefeated on the year, and Williamsport, they had a ton of matches this year coming into the dual team season, so I think they're very well established. State College was out of District 6 as well, and Bellefonte was able to win that one, so I'm excited for that one on the bottom. But clearly, I think outside of Waynesburg, it's really, I mean, Becca, maybe they can hang with a team like Waynesburg, but I just can't see it. I just can't see it happening.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we thought all year, that it was going to be Becca and Waynesburg for the championship. Whether or not Becca can handle or hang with them, I'm not sure of that, but I think that's kind of what we've thought all year, and I haven't seen anything that's going to change our opinions on that those are 1 and 2 in the state right now.
Yeah, and so if you look at the brackets and should they hold, based on the state rankings, you would have on the top half, if Springford wins, they'll have Bethlehem Catholic. But again, I think that CD Bethlehem Catholic match is a toss-up. I think Becca, they have a little bit more firepower out of the gate, like more stars, would you say? Because, CD, they only had one ended up that placing at the state tournament. Bethlehem Catholic had a handful. And the question for me is the CD guys. CD, those guys that are wrestling, a lot of those guys are playing multiple sports. So are they all going to be back? That's the big question for me. Bethlehem Catholic or CD, I think either one of them beats the team on top, which I believe is going to be Springford, but I would never count out Delaware Valley and those guys. But I do believe the CD and Bethlehem Catholic winner will make it to the finals. And then on the bottom half, obviously I think Waynesburg's going to make it out to the finals there. Bellefonte, maybe, they'll probably beat Williamsport. But again, it's hard to say with knowing who's in the lineup. But I really can't see Waynesburg, struggling at all. I think the first match that they would struggle with and I say struggle, but that means like not win every single match is the Bethlehem Catholic or CD match, and I really do believe that'll be Bethlehem Catholic, and sure there'll be some good matches there. We could see a Mac Church Tyler Kasak. That could happen. That would be a lot of fun. Or Rocco Welsh, Evan Gleason. You look at Waynesburg's depth though. I mean, they're solid throughout. My God, how many? They had 5 finalists, right? Is that how many?
Yeah.
They had 5 finalists in the state tournament.
3 champs.
3 champs. You know, Wyatt Henson, Mac Church, Luke Augustine. You know, Cole Hammett was in the finals as well. You know, I think they're a team that just you know, and Rocco Welsh being a state runner-up as well. I think they're a team that just they're too good, right? They're too good. Even with the weights moving around, they're just too much star power there. There's too much firepower there, Eric. So same thing with the AAA state tournament. So that's at Cumber Valley. So those matches that we just mentioned, they'll go down on Wednesday, the 24th. Springford and Delaware Valley, they'll wrestle at 7 o'clock at Springford. Central Dauphin, Bethlehem Catholic, that's at CD. That's at 7 o'clock. And Waynesburg and Cathedral Prep, that's at 6 o'clock, and that's at the EQT Rec Center right outside of Waynesburg, right on the campus of the Waynesburg University. Bellefonte, Williamsport, 7 o'clock at Bellefonte. Winners then advance to Cumber Valley. I almost said Hershey, but it's close enough. It's Central PA. They'll go to Cumber Valley. The semifinals will be wrestled at 4 o'clock in AAA. The finals will be wrestled at 6 o'clock in AAA. And of course, you'll have the 3rd and 4th place matches going on as well. And there's not a time listed on the PIAA bracket, but I believe they are at the same time as the finals. I believe they're doing 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th all at the same time. They're going to have 2 matches down at Cumber Valley. So, yeah, very strange, Eric, that we're talking about the state dual team tournament and it's March 23rd.
Well, we waited so long to get the season going. Why not drag it out a little bit and give us something else to pay attention to right now instead of getting ready for freestyle?
Yeah, normally we would be gearing up for freestyle. You know, we also have the Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic coming up here, so excited for that. We got a solid team PA going against a really, really tough team USA, unfortunately. You know, they're going to have some tough sledding there, but the team WPIL, the Whitfield team, stacked with a lot of state and nationally ranked guys there against Team Maryland. So I think the team WPIL is going to have a good match with Maryland. And, you know, Eric, we may be having something up our sleeves too. You know, I saw somebody, I don't know who it was, tapped into the PA Power Twitter account and tweeted out April 10th. You know, I don't know if they were honing their inner Cale Sanderson.
Cale?
Just maybe it was. You know, but
he's on the rock fit. You know, maybe it was Cale.
He could have something's going on April 10th. Just saying, something's going on. So
could be in that state college area.
Could be. Yeah, could be. And yeah, it could be a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll let you know. We'll let you know in a couple of days what's going on. But make sure you stay tuned to PA Power Wrestling because man, we got a lot of fun stuff coming up. The official season may be over, but we got a lot of other things coming up. We have the Second Chance Nationals coming up this weekend out at Spooky Nook. That's in partnership with PA Power and Break the Chains. That's happening this Saturday. You can still register for that up until the day of, so you can get your registrations in. You can register for that. I know numbers were going up in the last couple of days, so make sure you jump in on that. That's the Second Chance Nationals. And, of course, the Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic is going down the Easter weekend on that Friday, Good Friday. And then, of course, maybe something happening April 10th. And, yeah, we're excited for that, Eric.
Yeah, we got some cool stuff coming up. You know, I know you've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, haven't been able to get out of the house too much, but you know, you've been putting in all the legwork to get these things going and have a lot of fun things coming up.
Well, I'm week 3.5 of having a newborn.
The beard's looking good, by the way. There, yeah.
Yeah, it's growing in, right? Yeah, it's growing in a little bit. I can barely shower, let alone shave. I'm waking up. I smell like milk, sour milk, and then between diapers, I never thought I'd have, more pee and poo on me than I ever expected. But it seems like every time I just go to change that diaper, he determines that that's probably a good time to finish off what he was doing. There's that like small window, and I always seem to catch that window, and it's always at like 2 a.m. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? He hates
you
being
thought you
changed
had a
too.
lot of crap to deal with in your day job.
Yeah, I would much rather deal with criminals than actual human feces and pee. But hey, it is what it is. I'm happy to be a father, and we're definitely blessed to have him. And I have been a little bit going stir crazy in the house, so that's partly why April 10th has been tweeted out. But we're excited to get out of the house and have some good wrestling. And I know it's been a weird time for us, for all of us, not going to NCAAs, not really having our full team at Hershey. So it's just weird. But like Spencer Lee says, excuses are for wussies, man.
Yeah.
F excuses. We don't need them. So shout out Spencer Lee, winning your 3rd national title without any ACLs. That was pretty cool. Eric, anything else before we sign off? And
well, how about a little shout out for my pick guys there? 11th in the nation, 2 finalists. I think Keith Gavin's got a really good thing going there.
I couldn't agree with you more, Eric. And I'm sorry for not shouting out the Pitt Panthers, man. But Nino, and I'm not surprised either. I thought Nino had a good path to the finals. Wenzel, he needed to wrestle. And I mean, look at his first match. He barely won his first match,
Yeah.
but I was like, I don't know about this. But again, finds ways to win. He gets, what he does. He gets to the finals. Now, neither one of them were able to get to that championship title, but it sounds like Wenzel's going to be back. It sounds like he's coming back, and of course Nino's going to be back. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see.
Did you see the tweet from Pitt Wrestling that got like 2,000 likes? It was really cool. It showed Wenzel shaking hands
with Shane Griffith,
the Stanford kid, and said, if this was your last match, Stanford, it was an honor to share the circle with you, and just a really classy move there, and pretty cool, and obviously we want to save Stanford wrestling and hope that people are behind that cause and can find a way to keep that program going, because obviously they deserve to have that program, what they're able to do there.
The better part was, did you see what Stanford's athletics tweeted out? It was like the most. It was like Shane Griffith wins a NCAA title from the 8th seeded position in St. Louis. It was awful. Like, it was terrible. It was such a slap in the face.
There's no good way to look if you've done that. If you cut the program and you win a national title, what are you going to do? Celebrate and throw them a parade and be like, all right, enjoy your next college.
I get that. I'm just saying, like. And money's not the issue, right? They raised $12.4 million. We'll leave that to somebody else to talk about. But you're right. I was happy with Pitt Panthers, especially the Pennsylvania natives, right? We had 17 All-Americans.
4 champs. Another phenomenal year. They didn't win a team title, but man, it
sure felt like they won it, though. I'll tell you that. Going 4 for 4 in the finals, with Iowa losing, 2 of those, I don't know. I think I'd rather have the 4 for 4 in the finals than a team trophy. Maybe that's just me, but I'm sure Kale and company are not too disappointed with how their guys performed. Michael Beard, I thought, wrestled really well. Obviously Carter wrestled phenomenal. It was a lot of fun. I was sad to see Mickey Philippi not make it on the podium. I just couldn't, he needs to find ways to score, man. He has to get on his offense. He can't keep it close with guys and expect to win tight matches, but he has all the tools. Everything's there.
And I thought, the first round, I didn't get to see it live, but I saw the scores that he and Cole Matthews are both putting up double digits, in the teens. And I'm like, all right, finally these guys are getting the offense going, because we know that they can hold their own defensively. And other than, the DeSanto match, they can kind of keep anybody from scoring on them too much. But, it just didn't work out for him.
Yeah, and speaking of DeSanto, despite his issue from not being at the Words podium, wrestling wise, I thought he wrestled well. I thought we talked about how not so Austin DeSanto he looked throughout Big Tens and really throughout the year, and he turned it on, man. He was scoring points in bunches. He kept it close with Dayton Fix. Third in the nation. I was impressed with him at a pretty deep, 133 weight class where you had a guy like Corbin Myers there. So overall, a lot of fun. Wish we were there.
Yeah, yeah,
I
it was
wish we were
really
there.
hard watching it on online and on TV after so many years of being there.
Yeah, but hey, we got next year. We're going to Detroit. We're going to Detroit Rock City next year. We'll be there hopefully. Maybe want to book that Airbnb now, Eric, so that way we have it in advance, like we did last year. Then ended up having to cancel it. So,
Yeah, I had to cancel the St. Louis one. I had to cancel the
Minneapolis one, yeah.
Yeah. I got some friends in Detroit. We might be able to just crash at their house. Some hockey players up there.
All right, yeah, cool. That's cool. I'm down. All right. Well, hey, Eric, I appreciate you stopping in and talking a little bit about the PIAA State Dual Team Tournament. Again, you can check out PA Power Wrestling on Rockfin. We got rankings. We got updated team rankings. We got all kinds of things coming your way. And, of course, we'll have coverage of the State Dual Team Tournament coming up this week into the weekend. And keep your eyes out for April 10th. You might be surprised, but there's going to be something cool cooking up there. So we'll be sure to talk about that soon, Eric. All right?
All right, sounds good, Jeff.
All right. See you, Eric. I'll talk to you soon.